In the golden twilight of life, every step carries a memory, every pause a reflection on years gone by. This is the story of John, a 75-year-old man whose quest to renew the strength of his legs became a journey of self-discovery, hope, and transformation. Have you ever paused and wondered why your legs, the very pillars of your independence, seem to have lost a bit of their former strength? Have you felt that subtle twinge or unexplained ache after a simple walk, as if your body were whispering a secret message? In this heartfelt narrative, we invite you to journey with John, a gentle soul who, like many of us, has noticed the quiet signs of change. Once full of vigor and spontaneity, his legs now occasionally falter under the weight of time. Yet, rather than resign himself to the inevitability of aging, John chooses to explore and learn from the little habits that have stealthily sapped his strength to the mindful practices that promise renewal. At the very outset of his journey, John is struck by a profound question. What if the secret to staying strong lies not in a miracle cure, but in the everyday choices we make? This question, posed in the early moments of his awakening, set him on a path of self-care and discovery. With each chapter of his life unfolding like the turning pages of a cherished book, John finds that even the smallest adjustments, a change in shoes, a pause for stretching, a sip of water, can make a world of difference. His story is not just his own. It is a gentle reminder to all of us that the art of living well is found in the details. This narrative, told in a warm and engaging tone, is crafted especially for those who have journeyed far in life and seek to embrace the coming days with dignity and vitality. Have you ever felt that your legs aren't as sturdy as they once were? Or perhaps you've experienced those subtle aches that make you pause and wonder if change is possible. If so, we invite you to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for more stories like this, and share your experiences in the comments below. Your journey and insights might inspire someone else to take that first step toward renewal. Part 1. The Awakening. John's life had always been a tapestry of small joys. Early morning walks along tree-lined streets, afternoons spent chatting with neighbors on weathered park benches, and evenings filled with the soft hum of classic tunes on his old radio. Yet, as the years passed, subtle changes crept in. What began as an occasional discomfort after a long walk soon evolved into persistent reminders that his body was changing. One crisp autumn day, while ascending the familiar staircase of his modest home, John felt a sharp, unexpected pain shoot through his legs. In that quiet moment of pause, he realized that the vigor he once took for granted was slowly fading away. Haunted by memories of his youth, when each step was taken with effortless grace and boundless energy, John began to reflect on his daily habits. The realization struck him. The little choices he made every day were gradually eroding the strength of his legs. The old sneakers he had worn for decades, the habit of walking barefoot on cold tiled floors, the hours spent either slouched in his favorite chair or standing in long lines at the grocery store, all these habits, once inconsequential, were now the silent culprits behind his discomfort. In a moment of introspection, John recalled the days when he used to be active and spirited. He remembered the feeling of cool morning air, the exhilaration of a brisk walk, and the satisfaction of a day well lived. But now, a sense of vulnerability had crept into his routine. With a quiet determination to reclaim what he had lost, John resolved to learn the truth behind these subtle signals. He began to ask himself, could it be that the very habits he had long ignored were slowly robbing him of his independence? And if so, what could be done to restore the strength that once defined his every step? Thus began John's awakening, a gentle yet profound shift in perspective. No longer would he allow the accumulation of small, neglected actions to dictate the quality of his life. Instead, he would embark on a quest to uncover the hidden habits that were sapping his energy and learn how to replace them with practices that nurtured his body and soul. This was not merely a physical journey, but an exploration of self-care, a reawakening of the respect he owed to his own well-being. Chapter 1. The Shoes That Betrayed Him. For as long as he could remember, John had worn the same pair of sturdy sneakers, shoes that had accompanied him through countless walks, family gatherings, and even spontaneous adventures with old friends. These shoes, with their familiar shape and worn-out soles, had been a silent witness to his life. Yet over the years, their comfort had faded. The cushioning had worn thin, the arch support had long been forgotten, and what once felt like a trusted companion now seemed to conspire against him. One rainy afternoon, while visiting a dear friend at the local community center, John attempted to climb a short flight of stairs. In an instant, a jolt of pain surged through his feet and radiated upward, leaving him momentarily breathless. Confused and hurt, he sat down on a nearby bench. His friend, noticing his distress, gently inquired about the cause. With some hesitation, John admitted that it might be due to his old sneakers, shoes that he had worn for nearly 20 years without a second thought. This conversation sparked a memory of his younger days when his first pair of sneakers had been a prized possession. Back then, every new pair symbolized a promise of endless adventures. But time had a way of transforming treasured items into relics of the past. Now, confronted with the stark reality that his footwear was no longer serving him well, John realized that it was time for a change. Determined, he set out on a quest to understand exactly what went wrong. He spent hours researching and speaking with experts at a local shoe store, learning about the importance of proper arch support, shock absorption, and a secure fit, qualities that his old shoes sorely lacked. With guidance from a friendly sales associate named Robert, John discovered a range of modern, ergonomically designed footwear. These new shoes promised not only comfort but also the stability and protection that could help reduce the stress on his legs. The decision to replace his worn-out sneakers was more than just a purchase. It was a symbolic turning point. It marked the beginning of John's commitment to re-examine every seemingly small habit that had, over time, contributed to his discomfort. Each step he took in those new shoes felt like a step toward reclaiming his independence. Slowly, with every careful stride, he felt a gentle reassurance that change was possible, even in the smallest details of everyday life. Chapter 2. The Barefoot Risk. At home, John had long cherished the simple pleasure of walking barefoot. The coolness of the tiled floor, the feeling of soft carpet under his feet, and the intimate connection with his surroundings had always given him a sense of liberation. As a young man, he had relished these moments of unencumbered freedom. However, as the years advanced, the very act that once felt natural began to reveal hidden dangers. On many occasions, John would wander around his modest apartment without any shoes, an act he considered both relaxing and restorative. Yet, unbeknownst to him, the hard surfaces of his home were slowly inflicting microtraumas upon his sensitive feet. The tiles, though smooth, were unforgiving in their rigidity, and the worn-out doormats offered little protection. Over time, these repeated impacts led to a dull, persistent pain in his heels and arches. One chilly winter morning, while preparing his breakfast in the kitchen, John accidentally stepped on a small, sharp object that had been carelessly left on the floor. The pain was immediate and intense, and it forced him to confront a stark reality. The freedom of walking barefoot came with risks he could no longer ignore. After a period of reflection, he decided to investigate alternatives. He learned about specially designed house shoes and slippers that not only mimicked the feeling of being barefoot, but also provided the necessary cushioning and support to protect his feet from harm. Embracing this new practice, John began to wear these soft, supportive house shoes during his indoor routines. The change was transformative. No longer did he suffer from unexpected pains or the gradual wear and tear that had plagued him for so long. Instead, he found that even within the familiar walls of his home, a little extra care could go a long way in preserving the natural strength of his legs. His days became more comfortable, and he rediscovered the simple joy of moving freely without fear of the hidden risks beneath his feet. Chapter 3. Ignoring the Silent Cries. Throughout most of his adult life, John had been a stoic man, one who brushed off minor aches as an inevitable part of aging. The occasional twinge after a long day was seen as a badge of honor, proof of a life lived fully. However, as time marched on, those small aches began to accumulate, whispering warnings that were easy to ignore at first. In the quiet hours of early mornings and late evenings, John sometimes felt a deep, throbbing pain in his legs, a pain that was not sharp but persistent and unyielding. He would attribute it to fatigue, to the natural wear and tear of his body. "It's just part of getting older," he would say to himself, pushing aside any thoughts of concern. Yet, as the weeks passed, the discomfort intensified, and simple tasks began to feel more burdensome. A stroll to the mailbox became a trial, and even standing for a short period left him feeling drained. During a routine visit to his doctor, John was gently admonished to pay closer attention to these signals. The doctor explained that pain is the body's way of communicating that something is not right, that these minor issues, if left unaddressed, could evolve into serious complications. This conversation served as a wake-up call for John. He began to keep a diary of his symptoms, noting the intensity, frequency, and timing of the pain. In doing so, he discovered patterns that he had long ignored. With each entry in his diary, John felt a growing determination to listen to his body's silent cries. He started incorporating light stretching exercises into his morning routine, and he made it a point to take breaks during long periods of inactivity. It was a small change, yet it made a remarkable difference. By acknowledging the early signs of distress, John found that he could prevent further deterioration and even improve his overall well-being. His journey of listening and responding to his body's needs became a cornerstone of his path to renewed strength. Chapter 4. The Trap of Stillness. Modern life had a way of lulling John into stillness. Whether it was long hours spent reading in his favorite armchair or waiting in line at the local market, he often found himself trapped in moments of inactivity. Although rest is essential, prolonged periods without movement began to take their toll on his legs. John recalled the days when movement was as natural as breathing. He remembered running errands with a brisk pace, feeling the gentle burn of muscles in action. But now, endless hours of sitting or standing without a break left his legs feeling stiff and heavy. The once refreshing pause became a trap that slowly eroded the flexibility and strength he had built over a lifetime. One sunny afternoon, while attending a community event, John found himself standing for far too long. As the minutes ticked by, his legs started to swell and his joints ached painfully. The discomfort was a clear sign that he had been neglecting the simple act of movement. Determined to break free from this trap, John began to set reminders to stretch and move at regular intervals. He introduced short walks and gentle leg exercises into his daily routine, rediscovering the joy of movement. These small, consistent changes helped him understand that stillness, when extended too long, could be as harmful as any external injury. By integrating movement into even the smallest moments of his day, John reclaimed the supple strength of his legs. This chapter of his journey became a lesson in balance, a delicate dance between rest and activity that he learned to perform with renewed care and mindfulness. Chapter 5. The Misguided Trim. John had always taken pride in his ability to manage his own affairs, from cooking a hearty meal to maintaining his well-tended garden. Yet in one aspect of self-care, he had grown complacent: the trimming of his toenails. In his mind, a quick snip here, and there was all that was needed. Over time, however, this seemingly innocuous routine began to backfire. Without proper attention, John's toenails were often cut too short or filed into a rounded shape that invited ingrown nails. What started as a minor annoyance soon developed into painful episodes, each step sending a jolt of discomfort through his feet. It wasn't long before he noticed that the pain was subtly altering his gait. The misalignment caused by ingrown nails forced him to shift his weight awkwardly, further straining his ankles and knees. One evening, after a particularly uncomfortable day, John decided it was time to address this overlooked detail. Seeking advice, he spoke with a local podiatrist who explained the proper technique. Trim straight across and leave a little length at the edges to prevent the nail from growing into the skin. This simple change in habit not only eased the discomfort but also restored the natural balance in his step. John's experience with his toenails was a lesson in the importance of small details. What once seemed trivial had, over the years, become a significant barrier to his comfort and mobility. By taking the time to care for this tiny part of his body, he discovered that even the most minute adjustments could yield profound benefits. Chapter 6: Forgotten Care. While John was meticulous about many aspects of his daily routine, his feet often remained an afterthought. In his quest to keep up with life's demands, he overlooked the importance of nourishing the skin of his feet. As the years passed, the natural moisture of his skin diminished, leaving his feet dry, cracked, and vulnerable to irritation and infection. It was not until a particularly painful crack on his heel made walking excruciating that John realized he had been neglecting an essential part of his well-being. A close friend, noticing the damage, recommended a high-quality foot cream enriched with natural oils such as shea butter and coconut oil. Skeptical at first, John decided to give it a try. That very night, after a warm shower, he gently exfoliated his heels with a pumice stone and applied the moisturizing cream with care. The results were almost immediate. The tight, rough skin began to soften, and the constant irritation gradually subsided. This small act of self-care not only alleviated his discomfort, but also restored a sense of dignity and control over his body. John's renewed focus on caring for his feet became a metaphor for his overall approach to life. He learned that no part of the body was too small to deserve attention, and that nurturing oneself in even the most minute ways could lead to profound improvements in quality of life. Chapter 7: The Lost Exercise. In his later years, John had grown accustomed to a life that, while comfortable, was increasingly sedentary. The natural inclination to conserve energy had led him to sideline physical exercise, and as a result, the muscles in his legs began to weaken. What once was a dynamic force powering his every step slowly turned into a reminder of lost vitality. John remembered how, in his youth, he would rise early for a brisk walk or an energetic game of catch with his grandchildren. Those moments of exertion not only kept him physically fit, but also lifted his spirits. However, as age set in, he found excuses to remain seated, watching television for hours or spending long afternoons reading by the window. Gradually, the robust muscles of his legs became soft and unresponsive, and everyday activities grew increasingly laborious. One day, after struggling to rise from a chair without assistance, John realized that the lack of exercise was taking a heavy toll. Determined to reclaim his strength, he began to explore simple, low-impact exercises that would be gentle yet effective. With guidance from a local community center and the encouragement of a friendly neighbor, he started with basic seated leg lifts, heel raises, and ankle rotations. Each day, he dedicated a few minutes to these routines, gradually increasing the duration and intensity as his strength returned. The change was not immediate, but with persistence, John felt a resurgence of energy. His legs, once considered frail, began to respond with a renewed vigor. More than just physical improvement, these exercises rekindled his sense of purpose and independence. Every small movement became a victory, a declaration that it was never too late to reintroduce the joy of activity into one's life. Chapter 8: The Unseen Damage. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, John rarely took the time to truly examine his body. His focus was on the immediate tasks of daily living, and the subtle signs of wear on his legs went unnoticed. Small cuts, slight discolorations, or changes in skin texture were brushed off as trivial. Yet, these unheeded details were silently accumulating into bigger problems. One morning, as John was getting ready for the day, he paused before a mirror and examined his feet with newfound attentiveness. He noticed a slight redness around one toe, a minor cut that had begun to fester. A pang of worry gripped him. Had he ignored these signs for too long? Determined to prevent further harm, he began a routine of daily inspections. Every morning and every night, he carefully checked his feet and legs for any irregularities, no matter how small. This simple practice soon became a ritual, offering him not only the chance to catch problems early, but also a moment of quiet reflection. By paying attention to the details that his body was trying to communicate, John felt more connected to his physical self. He learned that vigilance was not an act of fear, but one of love, an essential step in caring for the vessel that carried him through life. Through this process, John discovered that many of the issues he once considered insignificant were, in fact, early warnings of potential complications. By addressing them promptly, he was able to avoid more serious problems later on. This chapter in his journey was a testament to the power of awareness and the importance of regularly checking in with one's own body. Chapter 9. The Worn-Out Comfort. For many years, John had clung to the familiar comfort of his old socks and shoes. They were a constant in his daily life, a reliable pair that had seen him through rain and shine, celebrations and quiet afternoons. Yet, as time passed, the continuous reuse of these items began to reveal hidden drawbacks. The fabric of his socks had thinned, and the shoes that once provided ample support now lacked the necessary cushioning, leading to subtle but persistent discomfort. John's routine was so entrenched that he rarely considered the impact of wearing the same items day in and day out. It wasn't until he started experiencing mild foot pain and noticed an unusual odor that he realized something was amiss. A conversation with his daughter, who gently pointed out the importance of changing socks daily and replacing worn-out shoes, finally opened his eyes. She explained that fresh, moisture-wicking socks and properly fitting shoes not only improved circulation, but also prevented fungal infections and other foot-related issues. Motivated by her concern, John embarked on a mission to revitalize his wardrobe. He invested time in selecting new pairs of socks and carefully choosing shoes that met modern standards for support and comfort. The improvement was tangible. Each step became lighter, and the subtle pains that had plagued him for so long began to fade away. This change reinforced a simple truth. Even the most routine aspects of our lives, when neglected, can have a profound impact on our overall health. Chapter 10. The Thirst for Vitality. One of the most unexpected lessons in John's journey came from a source he had long underestimated: water. In the midst of his busy days, John rarely gave much thought to the importance of proper hydration. He would often go through his day with a casual sip here and there, not realizing that his body required far more than he was providing. It wasn't until a night marked by painful muscle cramps and an overwhelming sense of fatigue that John finally paid attention. The cramps, which seized his calves and feet in the dead of night, left him waking with a sharp reminder of his body's needs. Troubled by this revelation, John began researching the role of hydration in maintaining muscle and joint health. He learned that water was not just a thirst quencher. It was the lubricant for his joints, the carrier of nutrients, and a key player in overall physical performance. Embracing this new knowledge, John set out to transform his daily habits. He purchased a sturdy, refillable water bottle and made it a point to drink at least 8 glasses of water each day. He even discovered the benefits of pairing his water intake with a balanced diet rich in fruits and vegetables, which naturally provided extra hydration. With time, he noticed a remarkable difference. The muscle cramps subsided, his energy levels improved, and even the stiffness in his joints began to ease. This chapter of his life became a celebration of simplicity, a reminder that sometimes the most basic elements of care hold the greatest power to transform our lives. Part 3. The Turnaround. Armed with the insights he had gained from unraveling these hidden habits, John embarked on a determined journey toward transformation. No longer content to let years of neglect dictate the pace of his life, he resolved to make deliberate changes, each one a small act of rebellion against the inevitable effects of aging. The turnaround was gradual but undeniable. John replaced his old sneakers with a new pair that promised stability and support. He began to wear supportive house shoes indoors, ensuring that every step he took was cushioned and secure. Moreover, he established routines that honored his body's needs: regular stretching sessions, periodic walks around the neighborhood, and a strict regimen of hydration and self-care. Friends and neighbors soon noticed a change in John. His gait, once hesitant and cautious, became more confident. The sparkle of determination returned to his eyes as he spoke about his new routines. His story spread through the community, inspiring others to examine their own habits. John's journey was not just about physical improvement. It was a holistic transformation that touched his emotional and mental well-being as well. Each new habit he adopted was a small victory, a reaffirmation that it was never too late to reclaim one's strength. In the quiet moments of the early morning or the calm of twilight, John would reflect on the changes he had made. He recognized that every conscious decision, whether it was choosing a better pair of shoes, taking a few moments to stretch, or simply drinking an extra glass of water, was a step toward a healthier, more vibrant life. Part 4. The New Beginning. As months turned into a year, John began to truly feel the difference. The once faltering steps transformed into confident strides, and the aches that had haunted him became distant memories. His renewed habits had ushered in not only a physical transformation, but also a profound emotional revival. The simple acts of self-care became the building blocks of a life lived with intention and grace. John's days were now filled with purpose. Mornings began with a quiet routine of gentle exercises and mindful stretching. Afternoons were spent enjoying walks in the park, where the vibrant colors of nature seemed to mirror the renewal he felt within. Evenings became a time for reflection and gratitude, as he would sit by the window and watch the sun set, thankful for the small victories that each day brought. More than the physical improvements, what struck John most was the renewed sense of independence and joy. He could once again join his friends for long conversations, attend community gatherings without the nagging worry of pain, and even participate in light activities with his grandchildren. Every smile, every laugh, every shared moment was a testament to the fact that with care and commitment, life could be as vibrant as ever. This new beginning was more than a reversal of old habits. It was a rebirth. John learned that while the passage of time is inevitable, the way we choose to care for ourselves is always within our control. In embracing change, he had unlocked a reservoir of strength that not only supported his legs, but also uplifted his spirit. Looking back on his journey, John realized that the secret to lasting strength was not hidden in some mysterious remedy, but in the small, everyday choices that nurture our bodies. Every change, whether it was a better pair of shoes, a new routine of stretching, or simply drinking an extra glass of water, added up to a life lived with greater ease and joy. His transformation was a powerful reminder that it is never too late to reevaluate our habits and make the changes that lead to a healthier, more independent future. John's story is an invitation to all of us to listen to our bodies, to respect the silent signals of aging, and to take proactive steps towards self-care. It is a celebration of resilience, a tribute to the spirit of renewal that lies within us all. As he continues to walk confidently into each new day, John's journey stands as proof that small acts of care can have profound impacts, restoring not only our physical strength, but also our hope and zest for life. Before we close this narrative, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Have you ever felt that your legs aren't as strong as they once were, or noticed that subtle aches hint at deeper needs? If John's story has resonated with you, we encourage you to take action. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories, and share your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments below. Together, we can build a community of support where each step forward is celebrated and every small change leads to a brighter, healthier future. Epilogue. John's journey is a testament to the enduring spirit of renewal. Even as the years add wisdom and experience, they need not dim the light of vitality that burns within us. Every habit, every choice, every step matters. By taking care of ourselves, through better shoes, mindful movement, attentive self-care, and even the simple act of staying hydrated, we reclaim not just our physical strength, but our freedom, independence, and joy for life. As you reflect on John's story, May you find inspiration in his determination. Remember, it is never too late to make changes, however small, that lead to a healthier, happier you. Let this be a call to cherish every step you take and to always strive for the best version of yourself.